Comedian Bill Maher is now going to be doing a show on CNN Friday nights, although he had no say in the matter because when you sell your soul to the mainstream media, they own you. And the same parent company that owns CNN also owns HBO. And he's had a show there for 20 years, Real Time with Bill Maher. And it's a weekly show, but they also do extended interviews. So when the time slot wraps up, if they still have something to talk about with the guests, they still record that and then they post it on the YouTube channel. And the segments do very well. Some of them are 700,000, 800,000, a million views per segment. And it's called Overtime. And so CNN now is going to be airing those segments on Friday nights. So it looks like the Clown News Network is trying to compete with Greg Gutfeld and the legacy late night talk shows on the brand name broadcast networks. And it also looks like they're trying to compete with the Babylon Bee because this is a real article by CNN. The police who killed Tyree Nichols. He's that guy who was killed, and they aired the footage last Friday. Black Lives Matter is all riled up again. The police were black, but they might still have been driven by racism. But that is the new talking point. Here's the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams.
Let me ask you, the Chief C.J. Davis, in my interview with her, she said that all the officers being black, it takes race off the table. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't. I think that I understand what the chief was saying, and I think she really handled this situation in a very professional way. She moved swiftly. She ensured that those officers were removed from the department. She took all the necessary steps. But I think race is still on the table. When a culture of policing historically has treated those from different groups differently, even when the individuals are from that same group, that culture can still exist. And we have to zero in on it, being honest about it.
If we're going to be honest about things, Mr. Mayor, you should probably admit that black men are only about 7% of the U.S. population, but responsible for approximately 50% of all violent crime. Pointing out that the officers involved in Tyree Nichols' death were black is a dangerous distraction. We all need a distraction from the chaos, however, which may be why Greg Gutfeld's late night talk show on Fox News on cable actually is beating the legacy late night talk shows, the Jimmy Kimmel Show, Late Night with Stephen Colbert, and The Tonight Show with Jimmy Failing. Greg Gutfeld's show pulls in over 2 million viewers, and so does, surprisingly, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, just slightly under that, and The Tonight Show with Jimmy Failing, under 1.5, about 1.3, it might average about 1.5 million, and Jimmy Kimmel, barely a million viewers. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, those shows would average about 5 million viewers, but because they're not funny anymore, combined with countless options for entertainment elsewhere on cable and streaming services and YouTube and people scrolling through Instagram and Twitter, now some of those legacy brand name American institution shows have lost 80% of their viewers. If the new owners of CNN were smart and they really wanted to get into comedy, they shouldn't have fired Brian Stelter, who is a laughingstock around the entire world. This is Sky News in Australia, reporting on the bizarre choice of having him head up a panel at the World Economic Forum a few weeks ago about disinformation.
Now, this is beyond parody. Sacked CNN activist and Democrat propagandist Brian Stelter is at the World Economic Forum and running sessions on disinformation.
She couldn't even keep a straight face.
The clear and present danger of disinformation is our conversation here this afternoon. It follows the session just now about disrupting distrust, and of course those are connected, so I hope that's where we can start.
Some of the people who speak most about disinformation, Kosha, are the biggest peddlers of disinformation.
The irony is so thick you can cut it with a knife. And look, he's on the speaking circuit. That's the post-act. After you finish a career on one of those networks, you go and do that. And this is the topic du jour. So I think we're going to hear more of it.
Of all the people they could have got to have a serious session about disinformation, Brian Stelter, it is almost parody. It really is. Come on.
They're definitely a joke. And their ratings have tanked to the lowest in almost a decade. Their primetime viewership now is just at 444,000 viewers. So compare that to Fox News, who averages 1.4 million viewers. So there are more than 1 million people more watching Fox News than CNN. And not to brag, but just to compare, I am just a guy in my kitchen on a laptop. And I haven't done the exact math, but my YouTube videos, it's fair to say, average over 250,000 viewers. And so I'm getting half the viewership, more than half of the viewership of CNN. The new owners of CNN are so upset that they've lost half of their viewers and the once semi-respectable brand of CNN. And I mean, it kind of was. It was always liberal media, but back in the 1980s, it was innovative. It was the first cable news network, the first 24-hour news network, which has become a Jerry Springer style laughingstock. So they're trying to have the network clean up their image, and we are seeing rare instances of actual journalism and pushback against Democrat lies like this.
Ahead of the first Trump impeachment, you said the committee had not spoken to a whistleblower. In fact, that turned out not to be true. The Washington Post said so in their fact check.
The Washington Post identified that, yes, before the person became a whistleblower, they sought advice from the committee. When I was asked the question, I thought they were referring to whether we had brought the whistleblower in. And I should have been more clear in my answer.
I should have been more clear in my answer. No, just stop lying. It's not that hard. Oh, and speaking of comedy, Roseanne Barr has a new stand-up special that's coming out next week that streams exclusively on Fox Nation, Fox News' pay-per-view streaming service. And they released this teaser. Not much to it, but just a brief little clip.
Has anybody else been fired recently?
This just shows how much the media ecosystem has changed over the last even just few years. And Fox Nation also picked up the canceled Cops series. Remember, after St. George Floyd died, the major networks canceled the Cops reality show because it showed what police officers actually do and the risks that they put themselves in and the stuff that they have to deal with, the kinds of people that they have to encounter every day. And so that show got canceled, and another one, Live PD, because in the communist takeover, they can't have police officers being shown in a positive light or in an accurate light. And so recently, well, maybe not even recently, I'm not sure when, but Fox Nation did pick up Cops. I don't know if it's the old episodes or if that series is ongoing with new episodes, but Cops is on Fox Nation. And to support my channel this year, sponsor me through Patreon or Subscribestar by clicking the links in the description below. They're services that allow viewers to basically sponsor or tip their favorite YouTubers, $5 a month or however much you want. So appreciate all your support, guys. We better buckle up because I have a feeling we're in for a wild ride this year. So click the links in the description below and check them out.